Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's review, I'm finally going to be taking a look at the Transformers 3A Deluxe Scale Bumblebee. In this video, I won't be showcasing the figure's packaging, as I have already done that in my previous Transformers 3A Deluxe Class Bumblebee unboxing video. So without further ado, we'll take a look at the figure's accessories, and then we'll take a detailed look at the figure himself. Starting off with the biggest and the most detailed accessory that this figure comes with, here we have Bumblebee's Stinger Blaster. This is an extremely faithful representation to what we see Bumblebee use as his primary weapon in the Bumblebee movie. I really like how ThreeA have weathered this particular piece, and I love how they've managed to even get the details of the fingers wrapped around the barrel of the cannon. There is so much sculpted in detailing here, it really does look like a fantastic little piece and very accurate to the film. My only wish is that this would have a LED in it, but that's not a massive drawback. Switching out Bumblebee's forearm in replacement for this Stinger Blaster is really easy. You simply have to swivel off the upper forearm, which will take the entirety of it off, and you need to swivel the new Stinger Blaster onto a metal rod that is made out of an extremely durable die cast, so I don't think it will wear over time. This Stinger Blaster definitely looks awesome with this particular figure, and is actually how I have this figure displayed. It also allows for some greater range of posability options, as we really are able to really express Bumblebee in a variety of different ways. The second more interesting accessory that this figure comes with is actually Bumblebee's battle mask. Much like the Stinger Blaster, this has had some fantastic paint applications applied to it. I really do like the weathered effect over the yellow in order to make it look as if though it has actually formed out of that dilapidated Volkswagen. I'm a massive fan of this particular head design, and he also has some articulation. The antennae can be raised and moved back in order to mix up display options and allow you to emote the figure. Pressing the Autobot insignia on the top of Bumblebee's head disguises a button that will activate the LEDs, which will make the honeycombed effect of Bumblebee's eyes a lot more predominant, looking really awesome and very accurate. Switching between Bumblebee's regular head and Bumblebee's battle mask is really simplistic. They are on ball joints, so literally pop off, and are very easy to pop on. However, the grip is still tight enough that it won't just fall off at the slightest touch. As I stated previously, I am a massive fan of this head design, and this is definitely my preferred look for the figure. Switching to some of the more basic accessories, here are a pair of Bumblebee's hands, and these particular ones are rather dynamic and very sprayed out. I found these to work the best when you're posing Bumblebee in a running pose, as they really do help to set the pose. He also comes with a pair of relaxed hands, which are great for posing and just displaying in general, and I really like to use these when I'm balancing Bumblebee on his legs, making him look as if though he is crouching down to Charlie. He also comes with a set of fisted hands, which are of course a necessity for a character like Bumblebee, and these are great for posing him in uppercut type of poses. Switching between the hands is just as easy as the head. They are all on ball joints, so pop on and pop off extremely easy. However, once again, have enough grip so that they won't just fall off while articulating them. Bumblebee also comes with a spare set of door wings. Here I have the more movie accurate looking folded wings. These are what we see predominantly through the movie, and have got some really awesome vintage car interior detailing on the back of them. He also comes with a second set of door wings. These are obviously to replicate what the concept are and the early promotional images of Bumblebee look like before they decided to scrap them and completely redesign this particular character. These were not necessarily a necessity, but I'm extremely glad that ThreeA did include these, as it does help to spice up the posing options. Removing these are very simple. They're on metal rods, so really and truly just swivel and pop out of their joints and can be reinserted just as easy as they were taken out. They are on metal rods, so they are extremely durable, and I don't think that they will break or bend over time. And finally, the final accessory that this particular figure comes with is a first for ThreeA, in the sense that they've actually given us a display base to help aid posability for Bumblebee. This particular display base is detailed fairly nicely. It is this kind of mechanical type of spaceship, and we do have the ThreeA and Transformers Bumblebee logo printed in a really vibrant yellow at the base. In order to use the base efficiently, they have created a locking mechanism. This locking mechanism kind of ratchets a joint and locks it into place. As you can see, with the switch pushed all the way down, the joint will not move whatsoever. However, when it is flicked up, you do have full range back and forth, and you can really ratchet it between whatever joint you want to. The top joint is also ratcheted and can ratchet all the way up, and in order to pull it down, you have to push this button, which will decrease its length. This is great as it locks it into place really firmly, and you don't have to worry about the extremely heavy die-cast Bumblebee figure falling off. The actual clip section is not on a joint which can be moved without pulling it out of its socket. It has to be pulled out and then repositioned in whatever pose you want it to be in. I do wish that they could have perhaps done this slightly more advanced mechanism, which didn't make you have to keep pulling out the joint in order to get the specific pose you want. but I can understand why they did this. In order to prepare Bumblebee for the stand, they've actually gone the extra length and allowed some pieces to become removable, which will expose an extremely large port that you can plug the top end of the stand into in order to solidify the connection. Once this specific piece is plugged in, you can then insert it into the main base of the stand, locking Bumblebee into whatever position you so choose. And the connection is actually really strong, and I have no doubt that this particular stand will hold the figure's weight no matter what pose you have him in. Now turning to the main event himself, here we have ThreeA Deluxe Glass Bumblebee up close and personal. As you can see, I think that the head sculpt on this particular figure is absolutely astounding. It really does look as if though ThreeA have taken the CGI model of Bumblebee straight out of the screen and replicated it in die-cast and plastic form. ThreeA are renowned for doing a fantastic job at their weathering, and this particular piece is no exception. It's not overdone nor underdone, and it's just the right balance of what we see in the film. There is also some detailing that is actually not part of the main body. As you can see under Bumblebee's armpit, he does have some additional detailing that you perhaps wouldn't see. It is great that ThreeA always go to the extra length in ensuring that their products are the best and that you are getting the best out of your value. Focusing on the torso area, as you can see, we also have some marvelous detailing here. The only piece of detailing that is absent is the small record player. However, that is something that the premium scale version will actually include. But focusing on this particular piece, I think that they've done an amazing job, and considering that this is ThreeA's first time of a new deluxe scale, I definitely think that they've managed to replicate the same formula that they did for their premium figures in this smaller, more concise scale. Even turning to the back of the figure, it's just absolutely loaded with detailing, and there is so much here that is so accurate to the on-screen model. As you can see here, they've actually layered the particular figure, which gives some definition to the different parts and makes it that much more realistic. As you can see on the back, I have chosen to go with Bumblebee's more accurate folded in door wings. This does kind of hide the spine section, but I will show you in greater detail that particular section later. As you can see, we've got all the detailing under the armpit, and even the back of Bumblebee's head is detailed exceptionally well, capturing what he looked like in the film. Almost 100% spot on. As you saw earlier, this particular product also has an LED feature that primarily focuses in Bumblebee's eyes. This adds an extra sense of realism to the figure and really gives that photogenic look when you take snapshots of this figure or videos. Implementing the batteries into the figure is actually quite simplistic. You simply want to remove the top half of Bumblebee's head, which will expose a membrane section that is actually a separate piece to the rest of Bumblebee's head sculpt. This separate section is actually what houses the AG13 batteries, and on the front of it you have the main button that activates the LEDs, as well as these tiny little small lights that expose the circuitry board. As you can see here, the batteries do literally just insert, and by pushing the button you can activate the LED functions. Once you plug the batteries into that section, you will simply just want to reinsert it and close the top half of Bumblebee's head sculpt, and the LED function is ready to use. The LED function, as well as the ball joint in the neck, allows you to get this figure in some great poses. Talking of articulation, Bumblebee actually has articulation in the antennae sections, allowing you to move them up and down. The head is also on a ball joint, so it can look left and right, as well as tilt up and down, and can also tilt side to side in order to emote the character. There is also a second ball joint at the neck, which really helps to amplify the upper ball joint, which whilst using both of them really allows you to get some great range of articulation. Turning to the torso section, Bumblebee's chest panels are also on ball joints, so they can also swivel out to the sides. This is mainly to help accommodate different poses, as they are rather large pieces, and if they were left static would definitely obstruct posability. The shoulder section is on a hinge, which allows you to move it up and down, which helps to evade bumping into any of the other pieces. The arms can rotate forwards and backwards at the armpit joint, as well as butterfly in and out. This is great for articulation and allows you to get him into some great poses, utilizing both the butterfly joint as well as the main shoulder joint, allow you to get an even greater range of motion out of the arms. There is also a rotation just above the bicep section, which could do 360, however I don't want to force it. Also a 360-degree rotation joint just beneath the elbow section. This is mainly to help accommodate the double jointed elbows, as there are some pieces that could bump into it, causing them to break. As you can see, the arms are double jointed, so can do a full arm curl, which is really awesome to see and allows you to get the figure into some great poses. There is also a ball joint at the hand, however it is fairly restricted due to Bumblebee's back arm panels. However, you don't necessarily need to get too much articulation out of the hand. And turning our attention back to the torso section, there are actually two ball joints. The main ball joint at the top is the main functioning joint that gets the greater range of motion. It does pivot forward and backwards and can also tilt from left to right, something which the second joint is unable to do. It can also swivel the full 360 degrees. Talking of the second joint, this is quite a restrictive joint and is barely there to just help aid the upper joint. This section can move forwards and backwards and can barely move left to right. However, utilising both of the joints really does help you to get this figure in a variety of different poses. In order to articulate the figure's legs, you're going to want to move the hip armour out of the way, otherwise it will probably scratch the paint and break something. Moving this section out of the way does allow you to get somewhat of an outward motion, however it's nowhere near as much as I would have liked it to do. This is essentially the only swivel that you get for a thigh joint, however this allows the legs to kick forwards and back to a fair degree before it obstructs due to the figure's overall design. The knee joints are actually really interesting and remind me somewhat of the Mecha Live gimmicks back in the Transformers Revenge of the Fallen era. As you can see here, there is a piston joint that is actually really authentic to what a real life joint would work like. As you can see, when you do bend the knees, which go to a great degree, the knee pad also moves along accordingly with it. This allows you to get the figure into some great poses without having to worry about the positioning of the knee. In order to use the ankle pivot, you're going to want to hinge the shin armour out of the way. This will allow you to pivot the foot forwards and backwards as well as out to the side to an awesome degree. There is also a hinge at the toe which allows you to get the figure in some running poses. Now, just to show you some of the further detail of the figure, when you actually move the door wings out of the way which are on hinges and hinge the ab crunch forwards, ThreeA have actually added some more spinal detailing in order to make the sculpt look consistent. It has also been painted exceptionally well and isn't necessarily a joint you would see. Now, for some comparisons, here I have some other die-cast Bumblebee figures, all from the MPM line. As you can see here, he towers over the other MPM figures, and when compared to the MPM Volkswagen Bumblebee that this character design is based on, it completely destroys that particular figure. Granted, that figure does have to transform, but this new figure really puts to shame any other Bumblebee that Hasbro has produced, simply due to the fact that ThreeA had the time to work on the design of Bumblebee. So overall, I absolutely love this particular figure. This is the first entry from ThreeA's brand new deluxe line, and it really makes me anticipate some of their upcoming releases such as Blitzwing and Optimus Prime. I think that the die-cast in the figure really helps to give a very weighty sense of scale to the figure and also allows you to balance the figure into some great poses. The LED function in the head sculpt is great, and the overall sculpt of the figure is just absolutely fantastic and really faithful to the on-screen CGI model. If you're after the most definitive representation of Bumblebee from his solo movie, I have no doubt in saying that this particular figure is the best figure that you can purchase of that particular design. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please let me know down in the comment section below, and until my next video, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.